I love how Father Michael in his homily, he said that after communion, Jesus stays with you until you throw him out. I thought that was really profound.
Yeah.
Hey! Hey, what do you think you're doing, you dog-brained?
Well, hold on, whoa. Dogs are actually pretty smart. I mean, you take communion with that mouth?
Look, that is not the point. He cut me off. Weasel face.
And
Idiot.
Jesus has left the building.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Gabby. Welcome to Catholic Central.
Church.
Oh, we're doing Jeopardy? Okay. What is the building that we go to on Sundays and sometimes other days if you've got something to confess? Or you think that hot guy might be at the young adults group?
Not the answer.
Okay, then why did they hire the hot one to be the part-time young adults leader? Luckily, I know where he gets tacos for lunch on Tuesdays.
Okay, well, weirdly, you're actually getting us closer to the point.
Tacos are part of God's plan.
Oh, absolutely. But that's not the main point. Church is actually everywhere and part of our everyday lives.
Not when we're just physically in the building we call church.
For this, Catholics have a term they call the domestic church.
This term has existed since the 1st century, called ecclesia in Greek, or little church.
This is traditionally referred to as the family.
But we can expand it to mean wherever we make our homes.
The domestic church is important because the home is the primary place where we learn about faith and practice loving other people.
Loving people would be too easy if all it took were 45 minutes every week where your only contact with other humans was trying to avoid them at the sign of peace.
Today, we'll be covering some of the ways we can bring church into our everyday lives.
In a way that, thankfully, does not require an out-of-tune cantor.
Walking by city.
The first way is holiness.
Being holy might sound like something lofty and far off.
Something only perfect people can achieve.
Finally, I have achieved holiness. All it took was constantly praying the rosary while feeding the poor in prison in between Mass 4 times a day and novenas to all the saints. Luckily, holiness is achievable for ordinary people.
You know, you have jobs and friends and occasionally enjoy wasting time.
Occasionally. Yeah, of course. I mean, occasionally.
In the Bible, holy means set apart for a divine purpose.
That means that everyone can be holy when they're fulfilling God's purpose in their lives.
Catholics believe that we carry out that purpose in both the big things,
Like career and family.
and the small things, when we do them with love, like being nice to the checkout person at the store, or not laying on your horn in traffic.
Catholics take inspiration in the form of Saint Therese of Lisieux, who called it the little way.
While St. Therese desperately wanted to be a martyr, her path ended up taking her to a convent.
In her autobiography, she writes, "I can prove my love only by scattering flowers. That is to say, by never letting slip a single little sacrifice, a single glance, a single word, by making profit of the very smallest actions, by doing them for love."
The little way means we can try to infuse love into everything we do.
Which is objectively easier than martyrdom, for most of us. Just saying.
Next up, community. No matter if we live with our families, roommates, or by ourselves,
Doing Zumba at 2 a.m. Catholics believe that we are all a part of communities and that it's our duty to contribute to them.
this goes back to the very early church, and you might even argue back to the very first humans.
Man was not created to be alone, and it's in community that we're the most fulfilled.
Prayer groups, Bible studies, or even just meals with others nourish us and allow us to give and receive love and support.
The internet can also be great for finding community, as long as you use it to build relationships and not spend 8 hours arguing over which Fast and the Furious is the best.
Oh, it's obviously Tokyo Drift.
Okay, sure. For most models of community, we can look to religious communities.
And no, that doesn't mean you have to lock yourself inside all the time.
Most religious communities operate on the values of equality, sharing of responsibility, and forgiveness of each other's faults.
St. Augustine, who wrote the oldest monastic rule in the Catholic Church around the year 400, gives us some extra advice to solve quarrels quickly, lest we become resentful, and to watch our words.
In this rule, he writes, You must then avoid being too harsh in your words. And should they escape your lips, let those same lips not be ashamed to heal the wounds they have caused.
So even though you might want to tell your roommate he's an inveterate slob who might be able to get a date if he showered more than once a week,
Okay, harsh.
it's probably best not to say it just like that. One thing that might help to be a part of a community is remembering the principle of solidarity.
It's one of the core principles of Catholic social teaching, which Pope John Paul II described as a firm and persevering determination to commit oneself to the common good. That is to say, to the good of all and of each individual, because we are all really responsible for all.
This extends from our hyper-local communities like our families and weird roommate situations
To issues in our communities at large.
we should pay attention to what everyone in our community needs and try to arrive at solutions that are best for everyone.
Many Catholic communities have adopted a see, judge, act method of trying to improve things.
You see a situation
Judge it according to Catholic social teaching.
and act, or see what we can improve to serve the larger community.
This can apply to small issues or greater issues of social justice.
As Pope Francis writes in Laudato Si, social problems must be addressed by community networks and not simply by the sum of individual good deeds.
Lastly, we have rituals.
Adding rituals to your routine at home, such as starting off the morning with a meditation.
Or in the evening, reflecting on the day and how you could have been better.
You can plan out regular activities by deciding what you'll do daily, weekly, monthly, and annually.
Just like with other things that are good for us, but for some reason hard to do, without a plan, it's easier to slack off.
But remember, prayer is a menu, not a prescription. There are many ways to fit prayer into your life so that it doesn't feel like a burden.
No matter how you choose to make your own domestic church look, the way we live out our faith is a sign for the world.
Hopefully, through them we can bear witness to the peace of Christ.
For Catholic Central, I'm Gabby.
And I'm Nick. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us for more.